If we really think about it, hip-hop isn't really that old. The devices and tools we use to make music are still pretty fresh on the market too. 200 years ago, the only way to listen to a reproduction of a set piece of music was via a music box, purchased exclusively by wealthy families. Looking into 2021, we now have countless streaming sites and the internet capable of archiving, playing, and showing you literally anything you can think of, all from the palm of your hand at almost no cost. The digital devices we use today are, in my opinion, arguably the most important part of the creative process, helping to fuel the creation of the modern music we hear today. Whether it's a video camera for a music video or a condenser microphone used for capturing a vocal take, every device has its use and has helped countless artists and engineers capture a moment in time. Without any technology, you'd probably be listening to live opera right now, which I recommend you try at least once. The acoustics, natural reverb, A1. But it's not the technology itself that creates the music. Technology on its own is cold and lifeless. It's the artist and technician. In today's world, the mainstream will always know the artist. Fans will learn their style, their delivery, their creative process. But what about the technician? The one that sits in the shadows, orchestrating the flow of electricity. Do they too have a set method of working? Do certain pieces of gear sound better than others? And what would set a technician apart from the rest? In the past few years, we've been able to see that play out in the hip-hop industry. An engineer works their way into the circle of the industry's high-level artists and is then given the blessing to truly work their magic. One engineer in particular is well known for his contributions to some of the best trap music made in the last 15 years, Seth Firkins. Seth began his engineering career in his hometown, Louisville, doing live sound, promoting bands, and self-studying the technical aspects of sound. He eventually moved to the trap music capital of the world, Atlanta, where he began engineering for artist and super producer Shorty Red, and in Seth's own words, he was the original founder of trap music. Now we could go down a rabbit hole and talk about where the drum patterns originally came from, Planet Rock, Miami Bass, etc., but none of that sounds like what Shorty Red's work sounded like. It did really lay the foundation for trap music's ongoing reign over the music industry. Seth would eventually begin mixing for Future and would then move on to becoming his personal engineer, handling his recording and mix sessions. This is where something happened we may never see again. On one side we have the artist Future, who would soon perfect the trap vocal sound, matched with his team of legendary producers DJ Esco, Metro Boomin, Zaytoven and 808 Mafia, to name a few, all having an expensive and true taste for what trap beats and music should sound like. Now match that all together with an engineer who was obsessed with the quality of records and you have a recipe for success. Earlier projects Seth and Future worked on clearly had a sonic texture other songs lacked. Everything sounded cohesive. The drums knocked, the vocals and melodies melted into every type of speaker system the music was played on, while other Camp's material sounded harsh, overcompressed and outdated. It's very easy for an artist to join the industry and not think too much about the sonics of their records. In other genres, we see much more love given to the recording techniques and engineers who work their magic to ensure every artist and band is well represented sonically, and it pays off every time. A well-produced record tends to sound timeless, regardless of the era. We can go back and listen to the record and enjoy it for what it is. Overly harsh music has an expiration date, similar to a can of processed food created purely for mass consumption. It lacks a human element to it. Listening to Future's mixes motivated me with trying to achieve the same sonic characteristics in my own work. The way the vocals fit into the beat, the non-aggressive treble, the space in the mix, it sounded top-notch. I then one day stumbled across a Sound on Sound article which included a mix breakdown of Seth Firkins showcasing the Draco mix he had done for Future. He was very open about his process, speaking on his choice of recording gear, his gain staging methods and plug-in chain for every vocal mix he does. I then realized the importance of establishing a method that works for you and to approach every mix with that same philosophy, but while still making room for change and adaptation. Ever since this article came out, I found myself narrowing down my choices in terms of certain gear and plugins I use. I believe that this is the true secret to becoming a better engineer. With so many choices today, it's easy to get lost in it all. I urge everyone to find a sound you like, study it, and begin to work towards the image you have in your head of what that perfect mix should sound like. The idea of achieving this mix is not the point, but rather to strive to get closer to the sound every day. This is the secret to a steady and long-lasting career. There will always be something to study to help you on your way. Every mix will be different. I've remixed a Future track for today's video which makes use of my adapted version of Seth's vocal chain. Enjoy. check the link below for the purchase link, which will have a Pro Tools and FL Studio project file included. Check it out, let's get it. Alright, let's get straight into the audio mix, man. So I'm going to play the track one time and then we will break down each element we have in the song, as well as some cool background vocal effects to really source up your track. Let's get straight into it.
My front line come through like a soldier.
Yeah, I don't wanna talk, they can't find me. This is some drink, not some coffee. I'm rolling up cushion the lobby. I'm balling, this shit is a hobby. Skating on ice like it's hockey. She said that I'm cool, but I'm cocky. I woke up today and I'm seeing it clear. Got rid of my demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping a birdie, I woke up too early. I hop in a whip and you know that we swerving. I cook up some work, man, you know that it's perfect. Oh, she want me now, but you know I just curve it. Cook in the kitchen, I'm flipping a bowl. Keeping it real, I ain't selling my soul. Don't need a green light, you know we just go. Keep it 100, you already know.
Thousands of grams and certified stones that came on the time clock.
Alright, lots of fun, man. You know, I'm gonna stop saying rest in peace, Seth Firkins. It's long live Seth Firkins from now on, man. You know what I mean? Like, this whole vocal chain, all my vocal chain is really based on what I've learned from this one article that I have talked about, obviously, in the intro of the video. So it's pretty simple what we have going on. I've obviously just added a bit of this and that as time has gone on. A lot of new software has come out. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on. Got some really cool free plugins I've used. Vocal chain, obviously, you just saw a little bit of. We'll break down all of the main elements in the track, and as I said, a few of the background stuff. Whatever I forget, I will do in a secondary video. But let's get straight into it, man. So first thing on the main vocal, if I just solo out the main vocal real quick so you can really hear what's going on.
Yeah, I don't wanna talk, they can't find me. This is some drink, not some coffee. I'm rolling up cushion the lobby. I'm balling, this shit is a hobby. Skip.
It's just like cutting through the mix regardless. We don't have a beat playing, but you can just hear how much aggression we have going on. And I've actually taken my own advice, you know what I mean, and actually applied these two plugins I went through in a free VST video I did. And I use these two plugins. We'll talk about that in a second. But first off, auto-tune. Obviously, a lot of people want the auto-tune. I like quite a bit of auto-tune on my vocal. Personally, this is the setting for today. Obviously, making sure that our auto-tune is lined up to the song in the same key. Done deal. Okay, you can set your own auto-tune up. Use any one you like. But once we get into the mixing chain, I'm pretty much emulating, as I said before, an analog workflow, especially when working in the box. You want to get as much analog saturation as possible. Obviously, when I'm mixing analog, check out my website if you want to do some analog mixing. I am crunching the heck out of these preamps that I have, or these line amps that I have. Gonna add some nice air, nice warmth. But if I'm not going analog, if I'm just doing a full in-the-box mix, I'm quite happy just to use these two plugins. I think this is an amazing blend of two plugins. The first one would be the Trans Satur plugin. It's just a kind of transformer based emulation going on. I really like emulation 1, which is the clean transformer sound. Wonderful. Then on out, what I do is I send that into a bus color 4, which then emulates a tube type sound. Is it accurate? I don't know, but it sounds damn good when you mix both together, right? If I was to disable,
Yeah, I don't wanna talk, they can't find me. This is some drink, not some
that's cool, you know, but I really want to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I don't wanna talk, they can't find me.
It's just adding this really nice lift to the top end, as well as it's kind of gelling away some of the mids and lows. So there you go. You can obviously apply your tape plugin here as well. We do have a tape plugin on the actual vocal chain. So for those who don't know how my template style works, by now you should if you are a daily viewer or weekly viewer. As you know, you'll be adding your mic, right? I have my mic on SSL4. We're gonna add that in there, right? For example, if I don't know if I should do that, maybe it might glitch my whole system, but alright, let's say I added my microphone, then I could then route that into one of the 5 or 6 green channels, and the green channels are basically where we have all of our vocal chains going on. It's basically our distribution hub of where all the vocals are going to go. We have our main vocal chain, got our ad-lib, got our doublers and that kind of thing. Cool. But the main vocal chain, or the main vocal channel, is going to go into a vocal chain, right? The main vocal ad-lib also goes into this vocal chain. Now I do this because I don't want to have to create 2 of these channels. I don't want 2 channel 5s. It's going to add a lot more CPU to our load, right? It's going to add a lot more of a load to our CPU. So it's cool to be able to distribute stuff and work things out. Definitely check out my vocal recording course so you can see how I make a template from scratch. But once we're in the vocal chain, we are then running into a tape plugin, as I showed you in the Sound on Sound interview. You know, someone on the camera, but yeah, man, you know, in the Sound on Sound article, you will see Seth Firkins was using a McDSP tape plugin. I'm not going to be using that in this video. much big fan of Air Windows. Air Windows is a company that makes free VSTs, same as the Buzz Color 4. No GUI, no graphics, nothing cool, but straight up sound quality. And all this is going to do is emulate kind of a tape effect. Now, I did have this on full, and while working on the mix, I wasn't happy with how much more kind of low mid it was adding to my vocal. I mean, the whole point of mixing vocals is to kind of smooth that out. So I felt that it was a bit aggressive, but when I mixed it in parallel, 10-20%, it just kind of did that thing that happens with tape. I've never mixed through tape, but to me it sounds good. It adds a nice little 3D thing going on. So try this out. Air Windows tape, really cool. After that, we begin doing our general kind of processing. I'm a big fan of using an SSL channel strip. Definitely check out the Waves, the SSL native, Brainworks, a whole lot of cool options. You will find in the free VST version the Analog Obsession one, same company as this, really cool plugin. And all I really do is I start off always, I will be recording usually with this high pass filter engaged. For those who don't know what a high pass filter is, it is pretty much this. It just cuts out all of the bass. It's high passing. It's allowing all the highs to pass through, cutting out some of the lows. And for this mix, I ended up sticking around on 97 Hertz. General rule of thumb, 80 Hertz up to about 120. I'll generally start recording with about 80 Hertz on, just so I can kind of get rid of some of that low midiness or that bass, kind of get rid of that. From there on out, man, I'm going to start doing my EQing, and I'm going to work from the bass upwards always. So I'm going to always start off by doing a low shelf EQ. So a low shelf is something like this. And really, I went for 220 this time around, and I just dipped 1.6. You can go and watch tutorials on how to EQ and stuff like that. Again, doing a bit of a dip at 200, get rid of some of that gunk. And then I really wanted to pop out on my vocal in particular. I find my mic is a bit dark in this region at times, so definitely skim around the frequency section for you and see what works. I did a 2.2 dB boost just to kind of lift those highs up, make it sound really cool, airy, and wonderful. And I didn't do much of a treble boost. You know, Future's vocals, this is why I've always appreciated Seth Firkins' sound, is he's never really dealt with the top end too much, you know. Obviously in the Draco track that we saw broken down, he did like a 2 dB lift on the vocal, but you know, that's really it, not too much, you know. You don't really want to be, you should be aiming to record your vocals in a way that already has that air, you know what I mean? And you can use saturation then to do that boost, you know what I mean? You don't have to touch the top end every song round, you know. I often get rough mixes from people and they've 10 dB boost on the vocal. No need for that. You know what I mean? As your ear matures and you mix more, you're going to start hearing that you don't really want to do top end boost. I mean,
yeah, I don't want to talk, they can't find me.
Like, there's a lot of top end in there, man. If we compare that to the beat.
Ballin' this shit is a hobby. Skating on ice like it's hockey. She said that I'm cool, but I'm cocky. I woke up today and
you know what I mean? That sounds cool for like 2 seconds, and then you can't really mix through that for too long. It really starts to sound fatiguing. So be careful with the top end, is basically what I'm saying. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the SSL. I do a little bit of compression as well. Love the SSL compressor. I think it sounds good. It does this kind of lift thing. Really cool. But yeah, man, after that, following Seth Firkins' method, again, we're going to be doing a nice minimal. This is obviously going to be done with the Pro Tools one. If you're working in Pro Tools, any stock delay will work. But really, all we're doing is a quarter note delay. I don't even know if this is the quarter note delay, but if we boost this, it's just the kind of delay thing going on behind the track. I actually do it twice. Big fan of delays, but yeah. So you know, we do a little bit of delay, simple and sweet. Only allow the wet through, and then we obviously blend it in, so it kind of takes over like 4% of the vocal. And it's pretty cool. It really helps tuck the vocal in the back of the mix. After that, man, we really get into the EQ land. EQ land right here, man, is really just, as you can see, going to be me just getting rid of stuff I don't like. This is what I love about digital, that you cannot do at all with analog. There's no way ever that you'll be able to EQ out things this thin. If you maybe you can spend $8,000 on a Vice EQ, and that's still an analog digital EQ. So you know, wonderful that we can, with stock plugins, with paid plugins, whatever, notch out things you don't like. I highly recommend getting yourself some speakers and then kind of just learning what to get rid of, you know what I mean? Get yourself some acoustic panels if you can, DIY it, and then you'll really start hearing how much of a difference you can make when you start to get rid of set frequencies. I had a comment the other day saying, can't hear the difference between your wet and dry. And there is a difference. I mean,
ballin' this shit is a hobby. Skating on ice like it's hockey. She said that I'm cool, but I'm cocky.
It's MIDI, alright? It's too much mids going on once we enable our vocal chain.
Ballin' this shit is a hobby. Skating on ice like it's hockey.
All we've done is get rid of that mid end, man. That's where the money is, you know what I mean? All the mix, your job as a mixing engineer is really just dealing with that low mid end. And you know what I mean? As you can see, this is part of the process. It's just to kind of tuck away. You know, watch some of Alex Tomei's streams, and you can see him doing the same thing. It's just kind of, he'll sit there and just do that and be like, yup, makes a difference, right? He's sitting in a room with that setup, you know, and he got good doing that on headphones. So there's no excuse really. You can, you know, start doing it. So yeah, man, just tucking away stuff, getting rid of some of that nasty air. You know, sometimes vocals pop out in a way that you don't like, so just help treat that. This is also the region where the hi-hat is. You also don't want the vocals to be clashing with the hi-hat, with the snare, so you want to deal with that. Certain songs might be a bit more full than others. The song is quite empty. It's just kind of good, nice low-passy guitar, so really easy to deal with. But yeah, man, after that, again, Seth Firkins, you know, using the de-esser plugin, really simple. Not really doing too much, right?
Woke up today and I'm seeing it clear. Got rid of my demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping the birdie, I woke up too early. I hop in a whip and you know that we swerving.
So as you can see right there, certain words we are going to do quite a grab, but as per Seth Firkins' methodology or methods, every 10th word, every 5th word, every 6th word you just want to be dealing with, right? The DSs shouldn't really be kicking in the whole way through. I do know some mixers with great success DS the whole vocal and then just boost afterwards. I'm not really a fan of that. I'm much more a fan of kind of critically getting in there and really, you know what I mean, scratching your brain at times, you know, trying to deal with the vocal. But to me, this is always going to give you a much more natural digital sound. So I kind of vouch for this method. I think it sounds great, just to touch the vocal with the DS. After that, we need a way to clamp down the vocal. Even if I record with an analog compressor, if I'm doing analog mixing, going from the SSL into a compressor back in the box, I'm going to compress afterwards. Alright, I always feel that a digital compressor is going to be able to kind of clamp down a lot better than a normal compressor is able to do, unless you're really going for 20 dB compression with the URI compressor. That's going to add too much character. It's going to sound good, but it's not going to really work for every song. So it's always nice to be able to find a nice transparent, wonderful sounding compressor like this and just do a little bit of opto style compression. You could find whatever works for you. This is what Seth Firkins was using, and since I do quite love the sound of it all, Future's music is back catalog on the stuff Seth mixed, even this song, you know, this just sounds good. It kind of works. It's part of the whole theme, if that makes any sense. So yeah, man, pretty cool. Just clamp the vocal down.
Woke up today and I'm seeing it clear.
You know what I mean?
Woke up today and I'm seeing it clear.
I don't know, just adds like a 2% of consistency, and that's all our plugin chains are. You know, a lot of people say, man, yeah, it's stacking all these plugins, but really it's all about getting that 2%, 4%, 5%, and then we end up with this nice 100% result, right? So after that, man, we got two new plugins popping up, man, on the plugin chain. Ooh, look at that cool graphic. Shout out Waves. Steve State Digital, my bad. Fresh Air plugin. You know, I've used this on a mixer too. I actually have hardware units of what this is apparently emulating. I've got two Dolby System 361s, and it's pretty cool, right? All it's really doing is it's adding a little bit of kind of like high-end distortion. It's really cool. You know, these were old tape denoisers, so it would actually, you would have two of them. One would do a crazy boost and the other one would do a crazy reduction again, and that way you would kind of hit the tape loud and then reduce it, some sort of crazy stuff like that. But really all this is used for is kind of adding some nice air to our vocal. I thought this added a nice expensive sound, and as you can see, again, sticking to my philosophy, 1 to 2%, 3% here and there adds up. Okay, now because Seth Firkins loves to add things onto the vocal itself, delay, this is how I started doing it, and I love it, the way it sounds when you do it right. I like the CLA slap. This is the free one. Hopefully it's still free. If you didn't get it while it was free, you missed out, unfortunately. But a little bit of slap, a little bit of plate, sounds really good. Okay, if I boost this, I think this was the default preset, except I changed it to kind of mimic Seth's style, which was a 16 millisecond pre-delay and then a 0.6 reverb time. And sounds good to me. If I boost it,
woke up today and I'm seeing it clear. Got rid of my demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping the birdie, I woke up too early.
And it sounds good, man. I mean, I must say, you gotta give Waves props. It's pretty difficult to make a reverb that sounds HD and doesn't sound cloudy and muddy. That is always the problem. That's why I've got a few hardware reverbs, is because it's like, you know, my main vocal mix needs that HD reverb, right? And that's why people have all these expensive hardware units. This is emulating a Lexicon reverb, I think. It just has a bit more of a, you know, you can't really beat that hardware dedicated sound. So it's really cool that this does have that high fidelity sound to it. Does it sound the same? No, but it's good enough to use on the main vocal itself. So really cool. Added in a little bit of slap, why not, right? Doesn't really matter what's going on, it just adds a nice little thing going on into the vocal. After that, a little bit of air flanger. This is definitely the set sound. Did I just move that? No, I didn't. But yeah, man, you know, this is the exact plugin that Seth would have been using. 4% flanger, right? This is the preset, except I personally like to offset the left and right just so it actually flange phases and does this cool thing, and I turn up the feedback a little bit. And if I turn it up,
woke up today and I'm seeing it clear. Got rid of my demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping the birdie, I woke up too early. I hop in a whip and you know that we swerving. I cook up some work, man, you know that it's perfect. Oh, she want me now, but you know I just curve it. Cook in the kitchen, I'm flipping a bowl. Keeping it real, I ain't selling my soul. Don't need a green light, you know we just go. Keep it.
wow, so much vibe, right? Really cool. So yeah, man, that's pretty much what we have. I keep it simple on my vocal bus. I love adding these little dB meter just to check the level before I hit the limiter, because you can't really see what's going on. But bus compressor, man, this is a great way to kind of, you know, the one thing I've learned about mixing hardware is that I'm always looking for the same general settings when I'm mixing, no matter what song it is. So for example, I love mixing main vocals to this dBx compressor, right? You can't see it, but I'll always make sure it's not compressing more than 5 dB, so that way I know how much I'm going to drive it into that plugin, right? You get what I'm saying? So this is something that I've kind of learned to do in the box. Is I've got the vocal bus settings always the same. I've got a very similar template that I use for hardware mixing when I'm mixing other people's songs, and I'll always leave the limiter pretty much the same, and I'll always make sure that the bus compressor is doing about 1 to 2 dB of compression. That way I know that the vocal is kind of in the right ballpark in terms of overall loudness with the beat. So let's see how much it's clocking at. I actually haven't even looked at this plugin this time around.
Woke up today and I'm seeing it clear. Got rid of my demons, I do not have fear.
Bought a real SSL bus compressor, man. I hope it gets it, man. It might get lost. It's coming from Asia, but you know, that'll be great to add onto the master channel. But yeah, man, you know, there you go. 2 plugins that I quite like. And yeah, man, pretty much after that, you know, I don't do anything to the beat. I do a bit of filtering.
Woke up today and I'm seeing it clear. Got rid of my demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping the birdie.
Pretty cool. You know, I might leave the background stuff for a different video. You know, I think that ad-libs and stuff we can do in a different video. But in terms of some of these sends, you are definitely going to need a few things going on in the background. I've got a few things, 1 or 2 things hardware that I have done. This SPX kind of doubler, as well as this H3000. And what else did I have? I had actually another doubler, so we got 3 doublers this time around. And then yeah, man, we got some delays, you know, and that kind of thing. Just a really cool. I offset it by 10 milliseconds, which is pretty cool. So you know, the trigger delay does this thing.
Woke up today and I'm
and then another delay as well, and you know, pretty simple stuff. But yeah, man, that's really all I can show you in this video. Master channel, I haven't done anything simply because we do have the original track here. Can't really do much in regards to mixing that one down as well. But yeah, that's really all. We got this dual H910 preset as well.
I woke up today and I'm seeing it clear. Got rid of my demons, I do.
And all of those things, as I said before, just kind of have a little impact on the vocal overall wideness to kind of make it sound a little bit wider. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it that I can show you in this video. Hopefully you learned something. Vocal chain was obviously the most important element. Sends are secondary, and then, you know, a few background vocals and that kind of thing. You know, Uzi did a few background vocals, but Future for the most part is not going to be doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, hopefully you learned something in this video. Definitely check out my transition pack, the hyperdrive sound effect pack. You can check that out on my web store if you do want to get cool sound effects.
My demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping the birdie, I woke up to.
I mean, just listen to how much vibe that adds, right? If I was not having that.
My demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping the birdie.
Boring. All right, that sucks. So you want to add a bit of sauce on there, you know. So if we solo that out, sound design gang.
My demons, I do not have fear. I'm flipping the birdie, I woke up too early. I've been a whip.
So there you go, man. Hopefully you learned something. Definitely smash like, subscribe if you are into vocal mixing. Comment below, man. Long live Seth Firkins. And I'll check you out next time. Have a great year. Peace out.